The year is 1294. For decades, the citizens of the island kingdom of Sark have believed their ruler to be the direct descendant of King Arthur. But in reality, the throne has been occupied by an impostor for generations. And soon, the truth will come out. In medieval times, there were many who claimed to be related to King Arthur, but none could prove it. The legend had it that after Arthur was betrayed and left to die by his own followers, he fled to the nearby island of Avalon to escape his enemies. There, under the protection of the Lady of the Lake, he would rule until his mortal coil had passed, and he could be taken to Avalon in his undying spirit. Some believed this tale, but most saw it as just another fanciful story with no basis in fact. Still, people wanted a good story, and so the legends grew and grew until Arthur was said to have fathered a son named Aurelius, who became the first king of Sark. This Aurelius was supposedly born in the year 862, making him a direct descendant of Arthur. According to tradition, Aurelius and his descendants ruled Sark for 433 years, until Oliver VI was born in 1294. That would make him a direct descendant of Arthur. Only one problem, though: Aurelius wasn't born in the year 862. In fact, he was born about 100 years after the supposed death of King Arthur, and Arthur didn't have any sons. So if he really was the king's descendant, then someone along the way had strayed from the family line, producing an illegitimate heir who had then been written into the royal lineage. To the average citizen of Sark, this wouldn't have mattered much, though. They accepted the lie because it made their king seem more important. Little did they know, though, that this secret would soon be uncovered. For over a century, the dukes of Brittany had claimed Sark as their own, but the people of Sark had always rejected their rule. They lived on an island completely separate from the duchy, and even if the duke had managed to get there were few resources for him to exploit. It was a barren, windswept rock with a single tiny harbour and a handful of small farms. Anyone who came here for resources would quickly find themselves disappointed. In 1294, Duke John the Red decided to try his luck. He assembled a fleet and sailed to Sark, where he took the royal family captive and brought them to Nantes for trial. With their king and nobles imprisoned, the people of Sark had no choice but to accept Duke John as their new ruler. Though to his face, they pretended to still be loyal to their old king and offered him a deal. If he would release their royal family, they would allow him to keep Sark. He agreed and went back on his word. As soon as the king and nobles were released, they took the treasure the duke had seized and sailed away, leaving him with nothing but his royal robes and the wind. And what was supposed to be a glorious victory for the people of Sark turned into a disaster. Their king, Oliver VI, looked nothing like his royal portraits. He was balding, short of stature, and most noticeably had no eyebrows. Though the people had not seen their king since he was a child, they should have known that something was off. After all, everyone in the royal family had bushy eyebrows just like their mother. Even the king's young son had thick eyebrows, which was why, when the impostor stepped off the boat and revealed himself to be a short, balding man with no eyebrows whatsoever, the people knew right away that something was wrong. He tried to claim that the rough seas had blown his eyebrows away, but the people weren't buying it. And soon enough, some brave soul spoke up and asked the obvious question: who really was this man? Afraid that he would lose his kingdom once again, the impostor admitted the truth. He was not related to King Arthur at all. He was merely a commoner who had been placed on the throne by his noble family to ensure that Sark would never be conquered. Now, centuries-old lies were crashing down around him, but one thing was certain: he would never let Duke John take Sark. Not while he had a single breath left in him. He fought with every ounce of strength he had, but the people of Sark had already lost faith in their king and easily switched sides, forcing the impostor and his family to flee for their lives. As for Sark, it would become part of the Duchy of Brittany, but the people would never forget the great lie that had almost cost them their freedom. Do you know any obscure history facts? Share them below, and thanks for watching.